Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new Mr. Hanky video. Today I'm bringing you a matchup guide. I'm going to be doing a couple of these, releasing them based on about 10 or 12 champs. I'm going to be going alphabetically. I'm removing any champs you probably wouldn't lane against, so you probably won't be seeing matchup guides on supports, AD carries, or junglers. For those, you're going to have to learn just how to play against them in your games on your own. A lot of them, it's just going to be timing of your W, all inning, knowing your all ins, stuff like that, knowing their spells and cooldowns. That's honestly the best way to normally play against champions is just become as knowledgeable about them as you can. But for these champs that you'll probably be laning against, I'll cover how to play against them, what to build. Skill order is pretty much always the same, Q, E, W, max. But other than that, I'm just going to do a simple breakdown. I'm not an editor. I don't do anything fancy. You guys probably know that by now. So I just made a PowerPoint with some ideas on it. If you enjoy what I do, please like and subscribe on here. It really helps me out. And I also stream, so I'll throw my Twitch down below. We are doing a Porg giveaway of this here Star Wars Porg. It goes in a car. At 50 subscribers, I believe we're at 5 right now. So I'll be randomly drawing from my subscriber list and mailing that out to you. So that's something to look out for. But anyways, to get back to the guide, a lot of Vlad is going to be personal preference. Runes, build order. It's also going to come down to the game itself. I'm just going to be covering basically, I'm going to be redundant here, the most basic idea of the laning matchups, like what I would like to build in a perfect scenario if there were other people at play. Like, I'll be covering, in a lot of these, I'll be against an AD laner. You're probably going to need a Zhonya's. But let's say they have a bunch of AP people on their team. You might need a Banshee's Veil too. I'm not going to cover that in this video because I don't know who else is going to be on their team. That's going to be up to you to decide, as are a lot of things. Another thing with this, I will not be covering summoner spells. Sometimes in this video series, I will be taking summoner specialist. Once again, that's going to come down to what you need to start with, what you need to end with. Most of my games, I'm taking Flash Ignite. If I'm running summoner specialist, I might start off with TP, switch over to Ghost, Exhaust, Ignite, based on what the team needs. Same thing with starting items. I do not cover starting items, just because ever since Season 8, I've been always running Doran Shield to help with last hitting. Health is really, really valuable now with the Resolve tree being so strong. So getting that health from the Doran Shield really helps out. And some of you I'm sure still like to go the ring. I've seen some people go call. That's kind of weird. I wouldn't recommend it. But what I'm going to be going over the basic matchups. So let's get started. In this guide, we will be covering A to C. So our first champ, I believe, will be Aatrox. So Aatrox in lane, probably going to be playing top lane against him. We are sitting at a 45.32, so basically 45% win rate against him. I'll cover the runes next. Against him, I'll probably be going Unsealed Spellbook. A lot of the time when I go top lane, especially against tanks, I would recommend taking Airy, as it just helps with your poke, and a lot of melee people can't trade with you. The problem with Aatrox is that he can heal up, so if you poke him down, he'll probably just heal it back up. Unless you can really beat him back. Let's say you have an aggressive jungler, or you have faith in your jungler, then you can play really aggressive and probably go Airy and make him pay. But for the safe route, I'm running Unsealed Spellbook, especially in the top lane, as I love to switch over to Ghost if I get a lead and just split push. I'm running Perfect Timing because I'll more than likely be building a Zhonya's against him. It's good for the CDR, good for the active, and you can also cheese them with that early stopwatch. Magical Footwear, it's a free 300 gold at 10 minutes, if not sooner. It's just one of the better spells, not spells, runes you can take in the game. And I'll be running Cosmic Insight. Vlad loves CDR, that's self-explanatory. Sorcery, a lot of people don't go Transcendence. They'll go the Celerity for the movement speed. I'm used to 40% CDR Vlad. I no longer really do get 40 or 45% CDR on him, so I want to get as much as I can, so I take the 10% pretty much whenever I go into Sorcery tree. And then I'll also take Scorch. It's just, it's pretty strong, to be honest. I mean, there's no other reason not to take it. It's just free damage every 20 seconds. It's really easy to proc with Vlad with his Q. For the build, I'll be going Source Boots just because you want to burst Aatrox more than likely. You don't want to prolong fights with them. So by going CDR Boots, you're giving up a little bit of damage to get more damage off in a longer instance by lower cooldowns. So you don't want to take extended fights with Aatrox. Vlad, especially these days, are all about playing around your cooldowns, playing bursting people, waiting for cooldowns to come back up. While CDR Boots do help with that, they do not help with the burst aspect of him. I'll be going Protobelt. That's just to help engage against Aatrox. He has a slow, and his Q allows him to get out of fights. If I can walk up close to him and he Q's out, I can Protobelt onto him. I can also get a full combo off, probably by the time he can Q out of it. So that'll be a Protobelt, E, Q, alt combo. Not in that order, you probably want to alt earlier. But you should be able to get all that off, and Protobelt helps you get that off. Going Zonias because you're going perfect timing. It's just really good for playmaking. This is one of my favorite playmaking builds, is going both Zonias and Protobelt. It just helps not only in laning phase but in team fights as well. You can engage, you can wait for your cooldowns to come up, you can make your opponents waste their ults with Zonias, not having to rely on your W. That's why this is one of my favorite builds. We go Leandries for Magic Pen. Magic Pen's amazing on Vlad. And then we go Void Staff, once again Magic Pen. And then Luden's Echo. That just helps for chase down potential, and the proc on it is really nice. It's basically another like 100 damage for free. You can swap this out for maybe a Rabadon's or a Banshee's Veil if they have a lot of AP and you want some of that CDR. Or even a Mage Eyes if you're feeling pretty feisty. So for actually laning against Aatrox, you want to hold his, I wrote E. You want to hold your W for his Q, just because that helps you escape his knockup and his all-in, because what Aatrox loves to do is E, Q, and then alt and just swell on you. If he misses that knockup, you can easily cut him away. In lane, you want to bully him. Especially if you are going Airy instead of Unsealed Spellbook or like Cometer or something, just because he is melee, so you should be able to bully him. As top lane Vlad against these melees, you should probably always be queuing and autoing whenever you can. So that's what I mean by bully him. Kite him, that's pretty self-explanatory. He's melee once again. You can slow him with your E, you can kite him with your W. He does get extended range with his ult, and if he goes Frozen Mallet, which is kind of cheesy, but if you're playing Aatrox, he's just a cheesy champ in general, he can actually slow you down and wail on you for quite a while. And the longer he's in a fight, the more damage he's going to do, of course. But the better he is in like longer team fights, I would say, just because he heals up, he can swap between damage. And then lastly, beware of his passive. By that, not only do you want to make sure that you can kill him once, you want to make sure you can kill him twice. So you don't want to blow, let's say you're like running a no CDR build, you don't want to blow your entire load on getting him down just to have him revive back up with 1/3 health and not be able to finish him because you're too low or something. You want to make sure that you have your CDs are going to be back up in time. You probably don't want to trade Flash like all in for his passive. It's just not worth it. His passive will be up before his before your Flash is up again. So things like these you want to consider. Basically, a lot like when you're playing Anivia, which we'll cover later, you want to make sure you can kill him twice. Other than that, I don't know why the win rate is so low in this matchup. I think it would be favor to Vlad. Maybe some of you guys just don't know too much about him. Maybe you guys just like fall to the cheese. Honestly, if you don't know too much, play a little more passively. Aatrox is really snowball reliant, so if he doesn't get snowballing, you should probably take over the game. Alright, Ahri matchup. This is one that a lot of Vladimir players love. Some hate. I'm on the side of loving it. As you can see, Vladimir has a 55% win rate against her. One of the better ones. One reason why that you see this win rate is like so in favor of Vlad is because Ahri actually got nerfed a little while back and hasn't been touched since then. So it's not like any new items or anything's come out to improve her since then. So the last thing she received was a nerf. So that really helped jump. I believe the win rate back then was around like 52%, so it was already in Vlad's favor. Now it's bolted up even higher. We'll take a look at the runes. In this matchup, I'd be running Ahri, just because you want to try and trade with her a lot, as she's a mid-range mage, kind of an assassin too. But you should be able to trade Qs with her a decent amount. Of course, wanting to dodge her Q for your Q. But Ahri just helps in matchups where you can spam your Q a lot. Nullifying Orb, I'm just going this to help prevent her from snowballing, as she is an assassin. Just helps out with her magic damage. Transcendence, once again, CDR, Scorch. I probably won't cover that too much. One thing that you're going to notice here is that I'm actually running Triumph and Coup de Grace from the Precision tree. This is just because against an Ahri, she's not going to be taking teleport or anything. So I want to be, if I kill her, I want to be able to stick around in lane a little bit longer. Maybe get that wave push. Also, Triumph will help in team fights. As you get kills, assists, you gain your health back. You can buy time for your cooldowns to come back. That's what Vlad's all about, is playing around his cooldowns and his burst. Triumph helps you do that. And then, of course, Coup de Grace just helps get more damage off to lower health targets. Also helps with his burst, as a lot of the time you're going to be like flashing in, EQing, and then when you wait for your ult to proc, as the ult will finish off, it'll do a little more damage because they're chunked already from your EQ, and Coup de Grace is going to help amplify that ult even more. And against Ahri, she's going to be low health anyway, so going any other of the things in the precision tree, like there's one where the more health they have, the more damage you do, that's not really going to help out. So you can go a different tree as your secondary. In fact, you can go a different tree for your primary. That's up to you. This is just what I run. Against her, I'm going to be looking to burst her out. I want to kill her before she can kill me, so I'm going to be running like straight pen build pretty much with the proto belt. So I'm going source boots for that pen, proto belt for the playmaking, help catch up to her when she ults, help get on her when she doesn't have ult. I may not build entirely Andres, but I will be going haunting, guys, that's for sure. Luden's Echo is just good bursty item, same thing with building a Rabadon's. I would probably move Void Staff up a little bit in that build order. It might be a third or fourth item. Maybe even maybe a second completed item. Like I said, maybe sit on Haunting Guys, then go Void Staff. But I'm not going to be looking to build defensive against Ahri. When playing against you, you want to hide in minions, just so she can't E you. Just be careful about her E. That's basically her bread and butter. If she hits you with her E, she's probably going to jump on you. You want to track her ult cooldown, as if it's down, she has no escape. All she can hope to do is to E and run away. If her ult is down and your ult is up, you should be looking probably to all in her. She's really weak when she doesn't have it. Early, she should push you in. This is going to be very true. If she's competent at all, she'll know that it's probably going to be hard to lane against you, so she's going to want to play the roaming game. So with that, you just want to ping when she goes midding, missing, let your teammates know that she's gone. Just spam it. That's what I do. If you're annoying, they'll mute you, but it's part of the game, you know. Yeah. If you keep her in lane, you're probably gonna win the game. Just because if you're not feeding her and keeping her in lane, just because she won't get snowballing, and honestly, that lane is really in your favor. And be patient with your E. By that, I mean because of all of her jumping around, you want to make sure that if you fully proc your E, that you're going to hit her with it. You don't want to waste that health that you're spending to cast it. So what I like to do is I wait for, normally if she stuns me, she's going to jump right, not stuns, if she E's me, she's going to jump right in front of me. As soon as I come out of that, as soon as I come out of her taunt, yeah, it's a taunt, I'm going to be looking to QE her, get that charging. I may not get the whole thing off, but the way her animation works is that until she gets behind the minions in her actual dash, you can hit her. So as long as she's in the animation, just let that E go and try and get any damage you can off on it. You don't have to hold it to get that full E damage, because chances are if she's ulting, you won't get it. But yeah, that's how you play against Ahri. Pretty easy matchup, to be honest. I also go phase rush against her a decent amount, just because it helps with chasing her down. So Akali. So Akali, you can either play probably against the top or mid lane. We actually have a decent win rate against her. It's 53.4%. Because you will more than likely be playing against her in the top lane, I'm running Unsealed Spellbook. I'd probably also take Unsealed Spellbook for the mid lane, just because having Ignite up against her is going to be huge. She won't be able to shroud away. Ignite will reveal her, and then if you get snowballing, you'll have that potential to swap over to something else and split push. Or if she's getting fed, you can always swap over to exhaust, and that'll help shut her down. A lot of the other, like Comet, you don't have a reliable way to CC her. She can also W away from it. Aerie, she can hide in her shroud. You won't be able to proc it as often. Things like that. If you are in a lower elo, you probably can go Aerie and bully her, as they probably won't use the shroud right. You'll probably get a decent amount of Qs off on her. So you can look out for that as well. Gonna be running perfect timing, just because for that first inspiration slot, it's the best one to use. Even if you don't end up building Zonias, just get the one use, the one cheese out of it, and sell it. You get free gold from it. I'll be going Magical Footwear. I love it. I think it's one of the best runes in the game once again, and Cosmic Insight. And then probably most of the time I'll be going Sorcery Secondary if I'm not going Sorcery Primary. And it will be my favorite two. I won't even cover them, you already know. Once again, you're going to see a lot of the same items. Vlad doesn't have a lot of items he can build. I will be running Magic Pen heavy, trying to kill her before she kills me, basically. The nice thing is that even after she gets her Gunblade, if she has a stupid amount of healing, you can EQ, and throw the ult in there somewhere. Preferably at the beginning, and you can W that entire time while you're waiting for the ult to like finish her off, and she can't heal off you at all. Maybe off of minions, but I doubt if you pretty much all into her that she's going to be trying to heal up off of minions. She's either going to be trying to run away or trying to vamp off of you, but if you're in your W, she can't. So against her, you want to be aggressive. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. Just because she's a melee, she does have that blank, so you want to watch out for her W combo, and where she throws her throws her Q and then Ws and autos to proc like almost instantly. She'll do that if you're like in mid range to her. I kind of already touched about it earlier. You want to save your W for kiting her, because a big part of her is vamping and proccing her Qs. She can't do that if you're in your W and running backwards. While her dashes are annoying, your W is a good way to get away from them, and she can only dive in and out, pretty much. So she'll have to choose whether she's going to be aggressive or want or defensive in her diving, and if you're cutting away towards her tower where there are no minions and she goes in on you, she has no choice but to all in. It's pretty straightforward on any champ when you're playing against Akali. You don't want her to proc her W, so yes, her Qs can add up, but the big damage is going to come from her autoing after she lands that Q. So it's pretty standard for playing against Akali. And lastly, watch out for level 6. A good Akali, if she's not losing lane, if she's even or she has advantage, will probably all in at level 6, and she can actually do some pretty cheesy things. This is a tip if you also play Akali. If you make your opponent blow his flash early, and it's not up by the time you're level 6, what you can do is when you're about to hit level 5, you throw your shroud down. And you will actually let a minion die for free. You don't want to show. And you hit level 6 and you walk towards the end of it, get that move speed, and then they don't know you're level 6, and you can just all in them off of that. That works really well in low elo. I pulled that off quite a lot in gold last season playing Akali. And that's something you might want to watch out for when playing against her. So I thought I'd throw that in there. Alright, we got the Anivia matchup. It's pretty bad for Vlad. A lot of Vlad players hate it. As you can tell, we only have a 47.4% win rate against her. I'll cover wide solo in a little bit. Against her, I'm going to be running Comet. Comet's good against her just because I already touched about it with Aatrox. With Anivia, sometimes you have to kill her twice. And Comet really helps in doing that. You can make it go by fast enough. So let's say you proc it right away. You blow your load on her and she's in her egg form. Not only did you proc it earlier in that fight, you can proc it again on her being stationary. And that does good damage. And that'll help kill her faster in her egg form. That's why I tend to go Arcane Comet against her. I'll also go Phase Rush and Airy. Really depends on the matchup. There's no set in stone. I kind of look at what the entire team comp is. There's no really good Anivia keystone like for playing against her. Go Nullifying Orb, as she does have a lot of damage that she can proc on you. She is quite a bursty champ, and I hate her as well. And because of it, I'll play like a pussy, and I'll go Nullifying Orb, get the other two. And then, yeah, Cosmic Insight, Magical Footwear, pretty standard. So, against her, you want to be trying to kill her before she kills you, kind of a burstier type of lineup. So, once again, got the Magic Pen boots, Proto Belt to help get onto her. Leandries, probably won't be finishing it right away, probably be finishing it as like a third item. I like to get the Ludens and then go finish the Leandries, because by then, Anivia probably has a Rod of Ages, and it's stacked pretty well that Leandries help burn through it. I threw Banshee's Veil in here just because she does like a stupid amount of damage. And if you can negate her like first Q, which Banshee's Veil can do that, she really has no other setup other than to ult you and try and wall you into it, and then you can save your W for that. So Banshee's Veil does have a place, and then lastly Void Staff, because who doesn't love penetration? For playing against her, you want to keep track of her passive. That's a given for no matter what champ you play against her, just because you don't want to get baited into tower diving her, like flashing on her, all-inning her, just so she can heal up and then get to stay in lane because of her passive. Don't be afraid to like do an all-in to get rid of her passive. So if you waste your ult, it's definitely worth trading for her passive, because her passive cooldown is longer than your ult, so you will have time to take advantage of that, but you probably don't want to be flashing for it or anything. That's why you go Proto Belt. Don't be afraid to W her Q, especially in the early game. If you're riding around like mid health, maybe about 75%, using her W will probably cost less health than getting hit by her Q and her E. And if she's running Comet, it does a lot of damage. So you're probably better off just Wing her Q to begin with. That's going to be in the moment judgment that you have to decide, but I just want to throw that in there. Just because a lot of people like to hold their W for some reason. Don't be afraid to give it up and play a little passive until it comes back up. Save your all in. So by this I mean if you can hold your proto belt or you can hold your ult for after she's in like her egg, then save it because you're gonna have to kill that bitch twice. But if she doesn't have her egg up, then you don't have to save your all in. You can just go below it. And I kind of contradicted myself from when for earlier. I said don't be afraid to waste your all in, but that's just to get rid of her egg form. Let's say she's pretty fed, then and laning phase is pretty much over. You can be looking to waste your all in for her egg. That's going to be really good, and in the long run, it'll probably help your team out because now you know that, oh, we can all just dive on her and fuck her up. Whereas in the laning phase, it just may not be as worth. That's going to be self-judgment once again. And then map awareness. I type map awareness in here just because of her wall. She can set up ganks really easily for teammates, and Vlad has no way other than flashing through it to get like around her wall. You either have to flash or you have to walk around. This allows her to gank really easily. A good Anivia will probably push you in, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. I thought I'd throw it in here anyways, just because a lot of people don't realize that she can set up ganks very easily. Alright, Annie matchup. This one really surprised me with the win rate. 44% win rate. Annie's fucking up Vlad. Against her, I'd probably be going phase rush. This is just because if I kill her or she ults me, I'm going to try and proc that phase rush and run the hell out of there. Just because if I do kill her and I'm low, that Tibbers, if she is going to be going ham on me unless I already killed him. Because when she dies, Tibbers gets enraged. And he does a stupid amount of damage. So I like to go phase rush to help kite away from it. Or kite onto her. You can use it both ways. That's the good thing about phase rush. I'll go Nullifying Orb to cuck her so she can't kill me. And then you see Transcendence and Scorch again. And then once again I'm going to the Precision tree. Just because if Annie and I both all in each other, which usually that's what will happen if you like Proto Belt onto her, she's going to be like, oh, he's all in him. And you're going to be pretty low no matter what, unless you're pretty fed. So I go Triumph to gain some of the health back. Hopefully I can stay in lane, push it. And then, once again, Coup de Grace, because that's the second best thing you can run in the Precision tree for Vlad. Build, once again, is just going to be a race to who can kill who. And I threw a defensive Banshee's Veil in there. A lot of the time I wouldn't even build a defensive item. And pretty much in none of these builds will I have a Spirit Visage. You can get it, especially if someone's fed on their team where they have like 3 or 4 like AP like casters or mages. But I prefer damage over it. I guess if you don't have a tank, you can go Banshee's Veil, but I'll never throw it in any of these builds I'm showing. Just because Spirit Visage is a very niche item these days. But anyways, I threw Race to level 6 in here just because she can't push that well. She has to use her W and her Q, and that's pretty much, it has very close cooldowns to yours. So you should be able to push just as fast as her pretty much. I threw it in here because to race to level 6, you both can probably kill each other at level 6. So if you can get to level 6 and all in her before she can, that's awesome. Otherwise, if she's hitting level 6 before you, she's definitely looking all in you with a stun combo. So keep an eye out for that. Definitely want to try and hit it before she does. Hit it from the back. Just kidding, she's like 12. Harass her when she farms. Just because she'll probably be farming with her Q, and she'll probably be maxing her Q. So it's going to be on cooldown as soon as she lets it go. And she's stuck in that animation where she has to like throw it. All she'll be able to do is probably W you, which is pretty laughable in the first couple, until she gets a couple of points in it. but you want to Q her when she's Qing a minion, when she's autoing. She may have a long range with her auto, but it's actually kind of slow because she like kind of she like throws it like that. So she's locked in the animation for a second. You can Q her in that time as well and get the hell out of there before she can like QW her, but you're looking to trade when she Qs mainly. You may want to save your W to kite against it. Just because if you are running phase rush, it's a quick like Q E W to get the hell out of there if she like stuns you and all ends you, like flashes on you and stuff. So you want to save your W probably to kite her, or if you have a quick finger and let's say she's a scrub and she has her stun, but she like throws a like Q at you or a W and you have time, you can W that stun and it's wasted. And then Tibbers, she'll throw Tibbers on you, but it won't do as much damage because you won't be locked down. So keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out for her stun. And then lastly, track her flash. This is important because she heavily relies on flash all-ins. Even if she has Proto Belt, she's still pretty reliant on flash still. So just know that she is a little weaker when it's down. And as always, track her ult. You should be doing that with every champ because she's a lot weaker when she doesn't have Tibbers. Okay, Asol, 46% win rate. It's probably so low because he's just a roaming champ, and Vlad can't roam too well unless he's ahead. For the first time, you'll see me going into the domination tree and doing electrocute. A lot of people don't like electrocute. I won't run it too often. I'll run it against people that I can't really trade well with, but I want to kill. So electrocute helps me with that all-in potential. I'll be going cheap shot because it works well with my E. Eyeball collection, it's just snowballing type of thing. And then I'll go Ingenious Hunter. You can also go the one that helps heal you based off of abilities. Ability damage, I mean, that's going to be really good for Vlad. I just, against Asol, I'm always going to be rushing Proto Belt. And having it up more often by going Ingenious Hunter is even better. And then secondary source tree, of course. So, as I said, you want to all in him as often as you can. So I'm going source boots, pen build. I'll be going Proto Belt first completed item probably. Because once you get in on a circle, he can't do anything to you. So by Proto Belting in, ulting, EQing, and then Wing, you probably already killed him. And if he ults you away, he's useless. Because he's already going to be chunked. Because you got your pretty much all in. So he's either going to be dead or forced to back. So yeah, you see the Leandries, Luden's Echo, Rabdons. Not too much CDR in that build, nothing but damage. And then playing against him, you want to try and keep him in lane. He is a roaming based champ. He's going to try and push you in. So if this means like taking some Qs to like kind of make yourself low, make yourself more appealing, for him to try and kill you, you got to be careful playing like that. But if it keeps him in lane, it'll help you win the game. You want to get close to him. That's why you're pretty much going to be grabbing early boots. That's one reason why I don't go in like sorcery inspiration is because against Aurelion Sol, I want to be getting boots early. It'll help dodge. It'll help with dodging his abilities. It'll help with getting onto him. So I'm looking to get like Proto Belt and then probably source boots, like first two items, and that'll really help with killing him, getting on him, cutting him, stuff like that. And then you want to save W for a stun. That's pretty self-explanatory. Because when he stuns you, he's probably going to be getting 2 to 3 of those orbs off. If he actually has his W activated and it's going faster, he'll get like 3 or 4 off on you. And that's a lot of damage. So you want to save your W for that. To prevent that from happening. And you can also W his ult because it is instantaneous cast. But if you're farther back, his animation is he like leans back and then he throws it. If you have a quick trigger finger, you can probably W it before the ult hits you, or if he's like telegraphing that he wants to do it. Probably should have thrown this in here, but map awareness. If he's not in lane, once again, spam that ping button. Let your teammates know he's not there. Alright, Brand, 48% win rate. It's kind of rather low. I think it's because Brand is like an HP-based mage, and his combo is actually pretty decent, but as Vlad, you should be able to avoid it. Anyways, against Brand, I'm going to be running Phase Rush, Nullifying Orb, Transcendence, and Scorch, and then going Inspiration. With this build, you'll notice I actually threw Azonias in there, and no CDR, and actually no Proto Belt for the first time. That's because Brand is actually a pretty low range combo mage. So with that, you don't really need a gap closer to get onto him, because his W is his E and his Q, maybe not as stun, but everything is pretty much low to mid range cast. You should be able to Q. That'll be in your Q range. So if he wants to hit you, you'll be able to hit him. You don't need a Proto Belt for that. So one thing that is weird, I'm running Zonias. And that's because with Zonias, you're able to fuck up his combo entirely. He's a combo-based champion. He has to hit multiple spells to see use out of them. So let's say he whiffs his E, but he gets a W and a Q on you. Yeah, because his E's is stun. No, his Q's is stun. So let's say he whiffs his stun, and he W E's you, and he goes to ult. You don't have to waste your W on that. You can Zonias that, and then the ult will bounce around to everyone else but you. Same thing with your W. You can use it to avoid his ult. I threw that in there for the second type of tip, but that's just self-explanatory. Just fuck up his combo, and he can't kill you. Use Zonias for that, and use your W. Anyways, you want to stay behind minions and not in them. This is because his most successful combo is going to involve his stun. And if you're behind minions, he can't hit it. He can still probably W and EU in them if you're not paying attention. But by standing behind them and not in them, you won't get minion blocks. So it makes it easier to avoid getting hit by his W. If you're in them, you can get minion blocked when you try and run away, and it'll give him free W. You will be able to avoid his Q by standing in minions, but once again, you run the risk of being minion blocked, so I don't even think it's worth it. Already covered on the second topic. If you get stunned or you see his ult coming towards you, you want to spam your W to interrupt his combo as best as you can. Third point I brought up is fight when you're isolated. By this I mean, if you're in the jungle, not near any creeps, if you're not by minions, or if you're not by your own minions or by your own champions or monsters, his ult will do no damage. He may be able to hit you with a combo and proc his passive, but the ult is honestly the bulk of his damage, working in conjunction with his passive. But if he can't proc multiple ones, it'll just hit you once and disappear. So you will win a one-on-one fight pretty much every single time against Brand, as long as you guys are even. So fight when you're isolated. I mean, fight in like river, fight in the jungle if you're not nearby creeps. It'll just make his ult pretty much useless. Yeah, I'm really surprised that we actually have a pretty bad win rate against him. That's kind of weird. Alright, and lastly's, no, not lastly, we actually have a couple more. We just finally reached the C's. Camille. Camille's really strong right now. Right now we're seeing a 49% win rate, almost 50 against her, so it's kind of even. Against her, I'm going to be running Airy, Ultimate Hat, Transcendence, and Scorch. Ultimate Hat just because she won't do any magic damage, really. So, Ultimate Hat, it's not the best. It will get your ult like a 10-second lower cooldown at like max stack. But there's nothing else that you want to run in there. Airy is good because you should be able to trade a decent amount of Qs with her. And Airy will just amplify that damage. We give up the CDR and the inspiration tree, and we just go the boots and the perfect timing. Perfect timing is going to be important because, as you see in our build, we have a Zonias. That's just to help fight against her, which I'll cover in a minute. But we're gonna be going Magic Pen Boots because she shouldn't be grabbing early MR unless you're really dicking on her or she's a pussy. We're going Leandries. You can finish the Leandries early because you should be able to trade Qs with her and just walk away. And then you'll come out on top, and that burning will affect her pretty big. And the Magic Pen is awesome. You can notice I have I do have my two Magic Pen items, but I put Protobelt all the way in the back, and that's just because more than likely Camille's gonna be looking to engage on you. I don't think you'll be engaging on her as much unless you get ahead and she starts playing passively. But if she does that, she's already gonna be losing lane. I'm just prioritizing damage here over engage against her and survivability with the Zonias. That's just my personal preference. Some of you still might go Protobelt early on. Some of you still might be like, fuck that item and I'll never buy it. Me, I'm just going to hold off on buying it in this matchup. I'm going to be probably looking to buy it once laning phase ends and they need me for engage. So playing against her, you want to save your W for her E. Be careful. You don't want to W when she first is in the animation of her E. You want to wait for her to hit the wall and then E. Just because she can hold her E for a second, I think it is, and then pounce. If you W too early, she'll still be able to stun you. Take trades when her E is down. That's her only true source of engage other than her ult. And it's just self-explanatory that you want to take trades when it's down. Kite out her ult. This is what I was talking about by why Zonia's is important here. If she locks you in an ult, chances are that you can probably E and Q and then dance around her, and that's all you're going to be able to do. So after you're out of your main damage spell, so let's say you ult E Q and she's still womping on you, you didn't one-shot her, you're going to have to rely on Zonia's and your W to kite her other than running about in that small little area. And you're going to want to kite her until your cooldowns come back up or until you can get away or kill her. That's why I think Zonia's is pretty important in this matchup. And then also you want to wait out her shield. It was just recently buffed to where it lasts longer. So if she procs her spell and you can't damage through it, let's say you don't have an amplified empowered Q and she has a pretty thick magic shield, there's no point in wasting your Q other than if you need health back. You might as well just wait until it's down. Once again, that's going to be a judgment call. Kind of in the spur of the moment. You're going to have to know whether or not you should hold your Q or not, or wait out her shield, or if you need the healing, then Q through her shield, but trying to hold it if you can. Other than that, Camille's going to be pretty much a split push type of champion. I think I'd also probably go Summoner Specialist against her and maybe swap out the Magic Pen boots for CDR boots. That might be another good matchup too. Not matchup, build. Cassiopeia. We have a really high win rate against her right now. A lot of champs do. She's not too good. Against her, I'm running Phase Rush. Just because getting on her is the hardest part about playing against her. Is just getting on her and staying on her. You can't rely on Protobelt, honestly, just because Protobelt and Flash you can't rely on because of her grounding effect. This is what Phase Rush makes up for. Then you see all the usual things that we have going, what we normally grab. You can grab Celerity against her too. That would help a lot. This might be the one time that I go Celerity instead of Transcendence. I have pretty much a full blow-up build against her. Protobelt to get on her, and the Magic Pen items, and the heaviest of the AP items. That's what I'd run against her. That's what I'd do. I don't think I've ever lost her Cassiopeia, so I mean it works. You just got to get on her. So you want to play around her W. I already kind of mentioned that. That's why I go Phase Rush and take the that's why you take Phase Rush and then you go those items. It just helps out. I'm just kind of wondering why I took... Oh, now I remember. So I take Stopwatch here instead of Boots because against Cassiopeia, you want to get Boots probably pretty early. I may finish Boots, before I finish Proto Belt. Or if I finish Proto Belt, I'm going Boots secondary just to help get on her. That's why I don't go Boots, because you don't want to be locked down and have to wait to 10 minutes to get your Boots against her. That's the one problem about going the Boot enchantment and the inspiration. And against her, you definitely want to get Boots as soon as possible. So that's why I go perfect timing. That's why. Come on, Ethan, get on it. Anyways, you want to all in her as often as you can. You can pretty much always farm a Cassiopeia. Unless she has like godlike reactions and can like freeze you with her ult. Anytime your ult and flashes up, she should be dead. Especially if you killed her previously. You want to kite her. So if she lands her poison on you, she will get movement speed on you. Just W away. Don't even try and win that trade if you don't have your spells up or you can't kill her in one spell rotation. She'll just outdamage you over time with her E's. And that leads into don't fight her too early. She has one of the stronger level ones in the game because of her E and her E and Q combo that she gets at level 2 or W. Either way, she's going to be taking a poison to amplify her damage, and she can kill you pretty easily at level 2 if you don't play it right. So, while you're looking to probably trade Qs, use Phase Rush to get in and out if you run that. Just don't go all in the early levels unless you know 100% you can win it. You don't want to give her the early lead and then have her snowball. But a snowball in Cassiopeia isn't the end of the world because you can always pretty much one-shot her if she doesn't build defensively at all at any point in the game. So, oh well, you just don't want to put up with the fed calves. Alright, Cho'gath, this is our first tank matchup, and you'll kind of see a normal path I take against him. Cho'gath does have 50% win rate, so it's normally, especially this season, Vlad's pretty good against tanks. I assume he's not that good against, as good as he is against other tanks. Is that what I'm trying to say? Yeah. He's much better against other tanks, and I think the reason is because Cho'gath has a silence, and silence is just totally fuck up Vlad. So that's why it's probably not a higher win rate than what we're used to seeing with other tanks. I'm going some in Aryan lane, and this is just because I'm gonna be wanting to trade a lot with Cho'gath. I want to proc Qs as often as I can, and Aery's just perfect for that. I've mentioned that before. Then it's gonna be pretty much standard Mr. Hanky shit from there on. For the runes, personal preference as always. Item build, I'm prioritizing pen early on. So I'm not getting penetration boots. I'm actually going CDR boots, and that's just to help me get more Qs off over time and keep my flash up as often as possible. That's going to be important against tanks, so you can disengage if your W's down. But anyways, I'm going to be probably finishing a Leandre's early to help burn through his health that he's going to be building. And then a lot of time I will pick up Void Staff as a second item. It's just really strong since they bumped it up to 40%. You can grab it much earlier and see much more use out of it. After that, I'm going to be building damage. Maybe a little bit of engage with the Proto Belt, as you see, just for once the laning phase is over. Playing against Cho'gath, you want to bully early and often, so trading Qs whenever you can. I say often just because he does have a healing passive when he farms. So you want to stay on top of him to prevent him from CSing if you can. Map awareness is important with Cho'gath because in the early game he shouldn't have too much kill pressure on you. He shouldn't have kill pressure on you until he gets some stacks going in his ult, and he can like burst you with it. But he can knock you up and slow you and have a jungler gank. So that's why I threw map awareness in there. It's not a map awareness for him roaming. It's map awareness for you're probably going to get ganked. Build penetration early, already covered that. And pull his Q based off his CDRs. By that, I mean you want to keep track of his CDRs. He's probably not going to be leveling his Q up first. He'll either be doing his W or his E. So if his ult, E, and W are on cooldown and he's just queuing you take that damage. It's probably not going to be that much unless he's like building AP or something. If he does have his cooldowns up and he's like in auto range and everything, alt range, or it could be like he has a Righteous Glory or something, you probably want to pool his cooldown because otherwise he's going to follow up with his other spells and fuck you up. But if you know his like cooldowns and you know that by taking the Q rather than pooling will be less damage, then go ahead and do that. Once again, that's a common theme with Vlad is knowing when to W. I just threw that in there because maybe you haven't thought about it. But yeah, pretty easy matchup in my opinion. I don't know why it's so dead even. Probably just because tanks are just good in general right now. Alright, and this is our last matchup we're going to cover in this video. That will be Corki. We see a sub 50% win rate against Corki because Corki's actually pretty good against Vlad. Just because Vlad can't really poke him out too often. While you can't E and Q him, he's going to have pretty good damage on his own Q, and then his autos are going to hurt like a bitch. Also, he can rush Hex Drinker, which cucks Vlad. So, you got to keep an eye out for him and kind of what he's building. Don't underestimate his power. This is the second time I'll be running the Electrocute build on him, just because I don't want to be in an extended fight, once again, against a Corki. He'll probably outdamage me in the long run. I want to burst him, get in and get out. So for that, I'm running Electrocute, Cheap Shot, once again, Revenus, not Revenus Hydra, Eyeball Collection, and Revenus Hunter. And then I'm going Sorcery. And then for the build, once again, it's all about getting on him, getting that damage off, and then getting out of there. That's why I have the Proto Belt, the Luden's Echo, and then the Leandries. With this matchup, I'll probably be going Source Boots, Proto Belt, and sitting on a Haunting Guys, and then building some of my bigger items. For playing against him, you want to trade when he autos. In the early game, he has a pretty slow attack speed, so you can more than likely get a Q off and get out of there and trade it 1 Q for 1 auto if timed right. But after he gets Triforce, he may be able to get more off on you. And plus, the auto he may be throwing at you may be in a Triforce empowered one. Or not a Lich Bane, but a Sheen empowered Q. And I mean a Sheen empowered auto. And that just makes the trade a lot worse for you. My mouth is getting dry. 1 second. I like my Darth Vader. He's cute. But anyways, once he gets that Sheen, once he gets Triforce, trading Q for auto is going to be a lot more dangerous. So that's more oriented to his early game. Don't stand in his E. That's pretty much for any champion. You shouldn't be standing in his E just because it'll lower your resistances. Map awareness for package. They have the siren going off still. A lot of people, you need to ping like crazy if he's out, not in lane and has a package. Or if he goes to your lane and tries to push in roams with package, ping like crazy once again. His package is very underrated, especially in the lower elos. They don't give Corki enough respect when it's up. Then once again, play patiently against him. Like I said, he may be rushing a Hex Drinker. You will outscale a Corki. He may be like a mage 80 carry, but he doesn't scale that well into the late game. He peaks pretty much at Triforce. So you will outscale him. And a lot of the time I would say he probably has lane dominance on you, especially if he's going Hex Drinker. So just play the outscaling game if you can. If you're losing lane to him, just wait. You'll outscale him, don't worry. That's probably the worst advice that I can give, but that's honestly what you'll have to do if you go down early to him. But yeah, he's our last champion. So I will be releasing more of these. I'll probably be doing 10 or 12 champions again in a video tomorrow. If you guys enjoy the content, let me know. If you have any suggestions, please don't tear my asshole open, but let me know below as well. And if you enjoy the content, like and subscribe. Good luck playing Vlad this season, and hopefully you guys climb higher than you did last season. So. Thanks for tuning in, guys.